Hi, and welcome to Talking to Investors, the Startup Negotiations podcast. Today, I'm speaking with Philip Haverkamp, a partner at the impact VC fund kopa, formerly WeVenture. In this episode, we're discussing why even investors don't want startup founders to accept deals without negotiating, at what stage of a negotiation lawyers can do more harm than good, and one simple thing startup founders almost never do, but which would immediately get them more help from investors. Plus, of course, loads of other great anecdotes and insights that Phil brings to the table. So, let's get started. Hi, Phil, and welcome to the podcast. I'm very happy to have you here, and thank you for making the time.
Hi, Ben. Thanks for the invitation.
Maybe just say a word or two about what your position is as an investor.
Right now, I'm a venture partner at VVenture, climate tech impact fund in Germany.
How long have you been investing in startups, just to get an idea of the time frame?
Around 4 years, yeah, when I really started at VVentures. And a little bit before, maybe like half a year, but yeah, around about 4 years.
And how did you get into it?
I think the crucial thing is if you jump into the startup world, this was like 15 years ago or even a little bit longer. I was on the other hand side of the tunnel where I was looking for money, then went through this journey on asking for money. And afterwards, I got to know Matthias Willenbacher. And one day he asked myself, do you want to be on the other hand side of the tunnel, investing in purpose-driven people? I was really into it and helping not only with money but with know-how. That's why I jumped into this new world of investing.
You probably invested into quite a few startups in the last 4 years.
Personally, I'm trying to do like little business angel tickets. These are just like really micro tickets, and these are like four to five. Yeah, and but in the last 4 years with VVenture, with the team, we're plus 30 investments.
So that's quite a few per year, right? That's what, 7 per year, something like that, almost 8.
Yeah. It's tough, and not only investing and more like sustaining them and helping them. And I think the work starts when you're invested. This is my feeling, or this is what I like.
And then, we've talked before, so my impression is that your investments are smart money in the sense that you give a lot more than just the money.
Yeah, we are trying to. There's always this talking about added value, for sure. And since we're investing in a quite early phase, like pre-seed, seed, sometimes Series A, I think mentorship, coaching, as an investor or a board member is very crucial and helpful. And for myself, I was sometimes really, really close to the teams, maybe bi-weekly, and not only the founding team, even with newest employees, scaling and challenging the business.
That sounds like a lot of work if you've got 30 startups on your plate.
Yeah, I mean, since we're a team of some people, we could handle it and diverse it a little bit. And if they're moving and growing a little bit into the Series B or A and B phase, it's not mandatory that they need that close mentorship anymore, because they know what they're doing and there are other investors as well. But yeah, you have to try to focus and in the end, in both directions, ask, do you need help? And if they don't need help, that's totally okay, right? And sometimes I have the feeling the startups are not asking enough for help. They're sometimes scared of asking an investor, can you help me? Because maybe then they're not good enough or whatever, or they're missing something out. So I'm always pushing, especially the founders, ask for help. First step of a reporting, there has to be a highlight, there are lowlights, but always put ask in there. Because if you have a low light, it indirectly tells us, there's something maybe not going the right direction, or even if it's going the right direction, maybe how we can accelerate it. And normally the investors already maybe have been in a startup and did this journey themselves. I think it's the best way to interact.
Now, you were talking before that you are usually investing at a fairly early stage. So, what would you say of the 30 startups that you've invested in? How many of them were pre-seed? How many seed? How many Series A?
Yeah, I think at Ventures, it's like, I don't know, 60% seed,
Mhm.
maybe 30% pre-seed, and the rest opportunity-wise Series A.
So that's a real strong focus on quite an early stage.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And do you focus on a specific industry?
Yes. We
Okay.
have our like three verticals in the energy, mobility, and nature tech scene. Since we are coming from, or we are all more or less engineers coming from the energy space, worked in the industry there, having warm contracts. So energy mobility is our strong suit. There's our foundation coming from, and nature tech is just something correlated to CO2 gains in the future, and where we can really accelerate a better or different future for the world as well, which might not play directly in the energy or mobility space.
Which brings us to another topic that you and I have spoken about before, and that's a focus on impact. And then the question, what's impact to you?
I hope we're having an impact just talking right now, and hopefully some other people are watching it and getting some inspiration. This is already an impact, I guess. But in the investment space or in the startup space, I think impact means somehow like sustainability somehow as well, like focusing on the future of our living, of our planet, and trying to have an impact on our human race in a positive way, whatever means positive, right? So for us, impact measurement is looking at how can we accelerate a better tomorrow, let's see. And for example, like not emitting too much CO2 in the world, being more social structured, working in the planetary boundaries from ESG and so on. I think there's so much to do, I think, in the investment and the impact space. And there's nothing which says this is impact investment, right? But I think we are right now learning and trying to find out how money and a healthy future, or in the way of nature and society, can work together.
Speaking of future, I love that shirt that you're wearing. Future will take you back. Really like
Hopefully.
it. And the
Hopefully.
thing is, if you look at that critically, it cuts both ways, right? It'll pay us back either way. If we get it right, or if we don't.
Yeah. You can think about it, yeah. And who knows what is good or bad, and what is a good investment or a bad investment for human race. We can try to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think though that's a very courageous step forward, is to say, let's try and figure it out. Right. And let's not just go business as usual.
Yeah. I think we have to jump over some boundaries and think and challenge ourselves really what really matters.
Now, let me get back to the questions that I know that a lot of startups will have in talking to investors. And I'd like to get into the process of getting to know an investor a little bit. So for you, usually what's your first point of contact? How do startups get in touch with you?
There are various ways, I would say. You can write us or write me by LinkedIn. Many people do that. We're getting normal mails by visiting our website and then click on apply, or just meeting some of us on events. I think these are the main sources. But next to it, I think if you ask me what is the best source and what is the most efficient one or helpful one, it's a warm contact from a friendly investor, co-investor already. Yeah. If someone comes to me, a fund I really like, and we're working together quite a lot, and they think, hey, Philip, this is a good startup, have a look. It's like an indirect contact, but this is really strong because I will definitely take a little bit more time for this pitch deck or the information because someone already pre-sorted it a little bit.
That means any startup that's got some kind of first contact to an investor that's willing to say like, hey, these guys are really quite interesting. They're already a step ahead, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's a social business proof. Someone knows what you need. It's so often I don't know the percentage of how many people really send me or us. This might be interesting for you and might be in the I don't know artificial intelligence field. I really love it. It's super interesting, but we're not good at it right now, so it doesn't make sense. And to look at it because we won't be a good investor. And sometimes I think the most important thing for a startup is think about what this person or this fund or whatever, it depends on the stage, as a business angel or VC fund or strategic investor, where's the smartness in this money as well, right? And if on the website is saying we are investing in energy mobility, nature carbon tech, okay, AI could be in the space, but if it's about health tech, maybe we are not the right person to go to.
So for startups to also really, really look at those, what it says on the website, basically, right? I mean, just study the investor first.
It should be quite easy to find. Yeah.
Seems like such an obvious thing to do, right?
Yeah, it's obvious, but on the other hand side, sure, maybe some using crawlers and just saying, oh, this is a VC, you just fire it up, and if it's an impact VC, maybe it hits something. Maybe sometimes it works, but normally it doesn't.
We're moving on to what skills should startup founders have, even maybe before they contact investors, right? One skill seems to be like figuring out who's the right investor for me, right? Kind of researching that a little bit. And what other skills do you think, or would you say, are really important for founders to have before they even get in touch with an investor? What skills should they have developed?
I think like founders is so like it's hard to say it in a generic way. For me, it's a founding team. It's more than one person. And if I think about a founding team, you need to have different people, right, with different skill sets. If maybe sometimes it's very important to focus, as we just discussed, focus on the investors that really help you. But maybe you need someone who is maybe not this strategic and just going out and selling what are you doing and not thinking too much about anything what they do. Because this is a nice quotation from a professor at RWTH, Mr. Blettel. He said, "Yeah, execution before strategy." I think this is a skill some people have and some people don't, right? And if you overthink too much, you're only thinking, you're not doing it. So in the end, if you're an executor, this is something good. I mean, if we're already talking together, I think you already executed something because you found maybe already a company, have an idea and running forward it, and you're passionate. I think endurance and resilience somehow. I think in this space, you have to be patient as well. You have to try something out. You will fail a lot more than if you go on the corporate job way, right? And might be easier. You need to be curious. If you do something, I've never seen someone who's not burning for something, right? It's like super motivated. And if you have the skill to bring this inner flames for this product, what you're doing, to investor, to your team, to potential customers, I think this is really strong. It's not only sales, right? It's really being honest and transparent and straightforward. And the most important thing, what I see, what I had to learn as well, to be coachable as well. Because many founders, I mean, you need to be a little bit crazy, right? You need to have a little bit more than others egoism style, and some people think they know everything, right? But if I have the feeling this person's not listening or is not asking for advice because maybe you don't need it or she, then this might be difficult at one time in in this cooperation as an investor or startup, because there will be a time it's not going all the time going in the right direction. If they're not taking the help, not from me or maybe from someone else or an external one, might be going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I hear that quite a bit, that coachability is a key feature that investors look for too.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I would say I'm good at everything, right? And I need other people helping me. Well,
So let's say you've got in touch, you've seen the pitch deck, or you've had your first little presentation, you've got a meeting with a founder team. That might be roughly 3 people or something like that. And one or more of the founders do something that just makes you go like, oh no, this isn't going to work. Does that sometimes happen? And if yes, what is it? What is like a typical thing that founders do that makes you think like, no.
it really depends. I mean, it's just my view, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I get the feeling it's not focused on one point, and if I'm asking a question and the question needs to be answered in like 5 minutes, or we're then talking about totally different stuff, this is really might be really awful. If you just have 20 minutes to talk, you should really focus on what is important. And but if we're talking about, or like if they're pitching in for 50 minutes and I'm just saying nothing, this is not a good thing. The most important thing is to have space for questions, have space for dialogue, and be really precise. And killer features are be well prepared and ask questions back. Yeah. And try to get the investor to sell themselves a little bit as well, right? And do your own due diligence, right? So if you did your homework and see, if you invested in XYZ, and they're in the same space like us, but we're not in a conflict, but we can help each other. Are you, for example, doing introductions or synergies, or are you doing like how do you help startups or founders in your portfolio and connecting them, for example? Or can I have a ref call with one of your startups just to know how you work with them? These are good things. I mean, it's not the right from the beginning, right? It's maybe sometimes much to ask, but if you're going deeper, and we are doing our DD and wanted to know what are you saying is the truth, and if I'm saying I'm really trying to help startups, you should try to figure it out somehow if this is the truth or not.
So in a way, because earlier you were saying startup founders should be curious. So they should also be curious about you. They should be curious about the investors. They should be, I mean, they're going to be spending a lot of time with you, right? So
it's going to be a different marriage.
Yeah. Moving on towards, as the conversations get a bit deeper and maybe you start also having some points where you need to negotiate. Have you ever worked with some startups that you really wanted to invest in, but there were some sticky points where you needed to negotiate something and it wasn't easy?
It's not easy. No, it's never easy, and there are always negotiations. But I had the feeling the more we're getting to the Series A phase and other investors are coming in and thinking differently, and even maybe having strategic thoughts, or maybe are not so professional. This was sometimes really struggling, because on the one hand side you need fresh money, but then you need to think like, do you take maybe the better valuation or the worst valuation? And maybe the worst valuation will bring a more or smarter investor or stronger investor, or you say no, I'm worth, I don't know, double this valuation, and maybe you take in a strategic investor, and sometimes it can get really messy. And what I've seen, what is the worst thing you can do in a really early phase or in general, if you're negotiating, try not to bring anyone from the lawyer side, because this can get really messy. And there was this one story back in our days when we were negotiating, when we were selling selling our company, and on the other hand side on the phone, we knew that there was their lawyer and trying to fight he was trying to fight for his client to get a better valuation. And suddenly our investor said, yeah, if you don't get rid of this person right now in this call, I think we need to find a new timing, because the mood was getting really, really bad. And in the end, our investors really hang up, and they just hang up, and we were like, what just happened? Because we were really young and we didn't know what happened. But they said if they really want to buy your company, they will come back to you. Yeah, but never try to negotiate anything in person with your lawyers. Let the lawyers talk to each other in a separate room, and let them talk next to the showplace, but not like investor to founders. But normally it happens that lawyers are in the same room, and sometimes nothing happens. But yeah, you never know.
It really depends on the mindset of the lawyer, right?
Yeah. This is just what I've seen, and it's sure, if you're in the final discussion, and even as a notary, and then they're lawyers, and then they're starting to negotiate just seconds before they want to sign it. It can be really, really crucial. So yeah, good communication beforehand, and like a term sheet makes it really, really clear what you want to do. Then you write it down, and it must be not only startup friendly, it must not only be investor friendly. We always have to meet in the middle. Never try to advance yourself too much, because the other one will see it.
And it's risky too, right?
Yeah.
If you push your valuation too hard, and then you get that valuation, but then you can't show that you're good for it in the later process.
Yeah, and then maybe the next round might be flat or down round, and then you might have messed up. Yeah.
So finding that common ground is a really important part of it. And in that sense, lawyers sometimes they have a very hard attitude when it comes to negotiating. At least some of them. That's what I was saying about mindset earlier.
And it depends where they're coming from. If they are playing in the startup field, they already know it's maybe a little different game.
Let's take one of those kinds of situations. For example, you're negotiating equity. Do you usually go first when you say, like, this is how much equity you expect, or do you ask, or what's your strategy on that?
I'm really curious, and always telling startups, be careful with investors who are trying to get, let's say, more, like in total, more than 30% of the round. Because if you dilute that hard, it's what happens the next round. And if you have the minority of your own company, where's your motivation? So it should never be a motivation for an investor to invest a kind of ticket where the founders are losing too much equity, right? Too many shares. And it's like a thumb rule. You're trying to evaluate sometimes the company, and you're looking at the financials, but this is just like, yeah, future talk, and who knows if this really happens, right? It's super hard. But in the end, it's like a thumb rule. Yeah, you need to, if you do an equity round, a real equity round, you need to have like 12 to 18 months of breath. You need to survive this time, because in this time you can maybe prove new stuff. You can prove your KPIs you're trying to hit. And what I just said, don't lose too much equity, right? And maybe if the valuation is not 8 million, maybe it's 6 million. Maybe then you have to adjust the amount of funding, and maybe you need to have a little better strategy and or smaller burn rate.
Have you ever come in a situation where you've seen the pitch, you understand what the startup needs, you understand how much money they need, and then you say, okay, we're going to give you so and so much, and we would like to have, I don't know, 18% equity, whatever, right? And you suggest the percentage, and they just say, okay, sounds good. I mean, you're suggesting a percentage that you find fair, but they basically not negotiating it at all. Does that ever happen?
It happened the other way around. So when I was asking for money, and in the end I said like, yeah, I want to have like 100,000 for a million. This was our first investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they said, yeah, sure, okay, let's do it. And then the crazy thing just happened, and they say, yeah, but then in a half a year, because it was a small investment, we need an extra 100 or 200, right? And then I said, yeah, then, but in the half a year, our valuation will be double, right? And they said, okay, yeah, this sounds good. So this was like in 1 minute negotiating about like this terms, but this happens in really early phase, I would say, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as you just mentioned it, it's never been that fast. It's not like yeah we just take it. I think it would be difficult if someone just directly says yeah that's okay. I think then I would argue okay, don't they have other options as well? Is it the last thing they can have? Or I want to see that they are trying to negotiate as well and being strong at their position, because if they're not positioning themselves strong in front of me, will they do it in front of their potential customers or whatever, or
Mm-hmm.
someone into their company? Maybe saying yes, not 18, 16. But then you need to find out where the 2%
Mm-hmm.
drop coming from.
Actually, the fact that they go into this negotiation mode and they don't just accept the terms is quite important, isn't it? Because it shows that they've got a certain skill set.
Yeah, sure. This is not being granted, and I
Mm.
don't want to. I don't want to say you have to play a little bit as well, and it's not a bazaar, right? You don't. It's
Yeah.
not. Yeah. Okay, no, I have to give you €1. No, it's just €2. It's not working like that, right?
Yeah.
But what I see is it's always good to think about it, take the offer, suck it down, and then try to figure out, is it a good valuation? Is it, or do we need to adjust it? And really depends. Are you a lead investor, or are you just a co-investor? Normally, as a co-investor, you just follow, and you just follow the lead, and he already or she already negotiated or everything. But in the end, no, never directly say yes. I think
Mm-hmm.
always sleep about it, and in the end, the term sheet matters. Sure, it's not binding normally, but I think if you have it on a page where it's saying this is a valuation, I think this is a really strong sign.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can still think about negotiating a little bit as well.
Speaking of the term sheet, it's obviously not just about money and figures, right? Sometimes it's about control.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I understand a lot of the control elements of the term sheet is for investors, it's a way to manage risk. It's a way to also be supportive and take on responsibility, but also it's a way to manage risk.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite, risk management tools that you want to see on a term sheet?
I don't want to say yeah, lick prep and down rounds and drag and tag alongs. I don't care about actually. For me, it's I want to see if the startup understands the risk what we are undertaking,
Mm-hmm.
and that we are investing in them. And the biggest risk for me is that the founding team is not screwing up, but it's leaving, or it's just departing, right?
Breaking
And
up.
yeah, breaking up. Sorry, yeah. And for example, this is something like good and fair vesting clause should be implemented and should be very transparent. Like a good lever, gray lever, bad lever clause should be well discussed. So yeah, and in the end, normally it helps the founder as well to tell them, yeah, we are investing in you, and it will be a time frame at least for 4 years, hopefully much longer, right? But you should be committed here. And I think this is biggest risk management as well. Yeah. And as we talked about, and as I'm talking about the founders, for me, I'm trying to get more into the social help, what we are as Viventure as well trying to do as having a well-being clause. So not all of our money goes into, I don't know, development and sales of the product. It goes somehow in the development of the people, of the founders, and that they are having money, like a money pool of how can they help themselves, like coaching them themselves in a personal way, right? Because this stress, this change, everything is coming in there. They need someone, a neutral person who helps them maybe in a monthly term. And this is something I really want to see, that they think about it and they know about it, that we are curious that they should be staying healthy in a physical and a mental way.
So like a personal development / resilience pool.
Yeah. I hope they already have it in somewhere in their genes, but it's always good to have someone on the outside who's breaking you down. Like, it's just like breathe a little bit. Just don't think about your numbers now. Think about yourself and how you actually feeling.
And it's interesting because in my work with startups, I've also come across more and more very young people who take that quite seriously, who are not just all gung ho and, we're going to rock it and you're going to take off on a scale and, go all wild, but who say, okay, you got to be careful with the downtime, stay focused on your mental health and your physical health and things like that. And I think that's very, very valuable that, we're bringing that into and that you also, as We Ventures, and I'm sure you personally also are bringing that into the startup sphere.
I would really like to see university or like a paper what is saying, yeah, if you invest more in your mental health and in your people health, the likability that the foundation, the startup will thrive is higher, whatever, right? So this would be so great to see. So like there's like proof, like science proof that this is, I mean, for me it's clear, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, there's no well, I guess academic research on it yet.
Yeah. Maybe there is. Maybe someone will tell us.
If anybody who's listening knows about academic research, in this field, then
please tell me.
Yeah. Let's move on to the question of success one more time, because startups want to succeed, and of course, there's different measures of success. There's the financial success, there's the impact success. What would you say is, for you, the most important measure of success? And maybe it's not just one.
The most important measure of success.
For the startups that you've invested in, or that you may invest in the future.
We're still in the investment game. And the first thing is money. I don't want to say it's bad because, as a saying, yeah, money rules the world. We know there's a variable when we put good money into, or like money into different projects, we can accelerate the impact, the positive impact. And impact is being economically positive. Yeah, you should earn money. You should grow a little bit to a certain point, maybe not too fast or whatever. You should be measuring your planetary impact. Yeah, playing the planetary boundaries, and on the other hand side, being the social, being social, try to have a fair outcome for everybody, for all the stakeholders, not only the shareholders. But for sure, we as a fund, and me as an investment manager, I measured by how much money do I earn from investment, right? This is still one of the most important things. They ask me like, yeah, if I give you 1 million, do I get 2 million back in a certain time frame, right? But it's changing, right? It's changing to impact measurement, where we say, yeah, okay, how much maybe CO2 have we, how you say, not emitted, processed, well, how many people have been helped, right? Like what problem are we solving? Who's been solved? Like who's been helped, right? So there's not like this one KPI, or I would say it's the most important thing. Still, we are in the old world, and it's still money, right? And I don't sometimes get it why people who are having like millions or even billions of money need to get more money. Why don't they just stay at this? I don't know. I have a billion and this is enough. And if I get back my billion, sure, yeah, with some interest rate, whatever, that's okay. But does it need to be doubled or tripled, or
So
even?
that brings us kind of to an interesting conversation, which is not around startup founders alone, but into the whole, investment game. Is there a conversation that is possible with some types of, not all, but some types of LPs or GPs that um, you could argue there's more than one type of capital, and maybe you won't be increasing just your financial, your money capital, but you might be increasing a different kind of capital, a nature capital, or a environmental services capital, or I don't know, social capital. Right?
Yeah, it is. It's out there. It's good that you said LPs and GPs, because in the end, it's the GP who's driving or is telling where it goes. And when the GP is pitching in the fund's pitch deck, the second or the first word is I make you richer. Then you will address to these people who want to get richer. What is the most important thing? But more and more people coming into the space from I just want to get rid of all my money because I just what is Erben again?
Inherited.
Yeah, I inherited all the money. I don't know what to do with it. I want to invest it in let's say social startups, and it's not important for me if I get back my money. And this might be a little really maybe too strong way, because we shouldn't throw away money, right? We shouldn't. We should try to make something meaningful out of it, and sure we should try out something out. But this is like the extreme way, right? So, but more people are coming in and saying it's not anymore everything about money. And I think the team, the investment team, the GP team, needs to think about this as well, right? How much money do they need to earn? Is it fair that they earn that much money, right? Maybe it should be a little bit less as well, and then maybe it will you can tell the LP, yeah, I think we need to change our thought of money, and the way how we invest and how we calculate our success, and it's not only money anymore, right? And as you said, maybe and I'm pretty sure about it, it should be nature capital in a way how we measure it in a quantitative way, and the social capital as well. Yeah. And there are people out there who want to do it, but still, I don't want to say it, but it's a pain in the ass.
It's difficult, right? Yeah.
It's difficult. Yeah.
If you could, look into the future and envision a future where some of your investments have just really, really made a big difference, what is that difference? What's different in the future that you envision?
I think if you ask me, I think equality might be quite interesting. That all the people are more coming together again, communicating in a let's say more neutral way. Not think so much hate is out there as we see in the wars and so. If we talk again to each other, and maybe in person, but in an more open way, and if in the end, if companies or startups accelerate this new work, this new living, this new payment of work, then maybe we have a society where we are not dividing each other again, because we're coming more together. Because in the end, if a company wins, everybody wins. It's more stakeholder driven than shareholder driven. That's what I said in the beginning. So poverty might be going away as well, and we don't have all the money allocated to 1% of the society.
So less of a divide, right? And I like that you said less shareholder driven or more stakeholder driven. I think that is one very, very important and key development that also, I see a lot of people driving towards that in the sense of creating also a more regenerative economy.
Yeah, and this is, for example, something I really like to see, and now in one of our startups as well. Normally, here the founders have their shares, and one day there will be a VSOP, a virtual pool of shares, where like C-level, like very experienced people get shares because you cannot pay them as much money they normally would get to incentivize them. And what I really like to see is to have a visa pool for everyone in the company. Like not only the C-level, like everyone's working there. And if you're leaving the company, you leave the company, and you're not anymore part of this pool. And one day, if they're going to be the day, if they're gonna get sold, everyone participates in a way, right, in an equal way, right. And it has the advantage, for example, if you have like 10 people and they're sharing now 5%, right, in the beginning, you have 10 employees and you give them 5% of the visa, everyone has 0.5%, right? If a new employee comes in, there will be a dilution, right? But then the people will think about it. Okay, we're now getting this new person in there. And I hope in the process of getting new people in your company, the whole team is involved, right? And they are doing the same. They're having a vote for the decision who's coming in and who's helping. And if they think with this new person, the valuation or the likelihood that this company, startup, will thrive is higher, even if I dilute, it's wonderful, right? So you think like, we really need to take this person into our company because everybody will win. So you're much more connected to the person. You will think about it much more. And it's not like, there's someone new. Okay, it's more involvement, and I hope more success overall.
Well, it creates a different kind of thinking model, right? It's a little bit more like welcoming somebody in your home and saying, I've got this much food, now we all have to share it, and that's okay. And it's a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah, because you like to see him eating your food or being around you, because there might be positive energy in the conversation you will get or whatever, right?
So I think it's time to wrap it up. I'm very, very happy. Thanks again for taking the time. Is there anything that you would like to say to founders? Do this, don't do that. I'm sure you've got a million things to say, but like if it's just one message about, especially for impact founders.
I mean, I said it in the beginning. Today I don't have my cap on, which is saying just do it. So it's execution for strategy. But if you're going on this crazy roller coaster, take care of yourself as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Thanks for all your wisdom and insights. And maybe we'll have you back here sometime. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss an episode. And please do share this podcast with any impact founders you know who might benefit from better understanding the investor mindset and from thinking about what that really means. Impact. Let's start this discussion between startup founders and investors about impact in the spaces of circularity, sustainability, and regeneration. Thank you.